Hey everyone, so I decided to keep moving along with the soundtracks and Godzilla, the album. All right, so this is not cool Godzilla. This is not either Tokyo Godzilla, Toho Godzilla, and this is not the new modern Godzilla. This is from that thing they released with Matthew Broderick. We're not going to talk about the movie. I did see the movie in theaters, as a matter of fact. I saw it, I think, opening weekend in the theaters. So I was there, and I'm going to be honest. I enjoyed the movie in the theaters, but it was not Godzilla, and it was not a Godzilla movie, and it is what it is. But let's talk about the soundtrack, because this soundtrack is going to let me say some stuff that I've wanted to say for decades. And I finally can say it. All right. First off, the album opens up with Heroes as performed by the Wallflowers, as in the famous David Bowie song Heroes. I do enjoy this version. It's actually a really decent, faithful rendition. And for those that don't know, the Wallflowers is Bob Dylan's son. Was Jacob Dylan, I believe. They were an okay band. I didn't mind the Wallflowers back in the day. They had a couple okay tunes. However, of all the covers I've heard of your Heroes, I'm still going with the Hollywood Vampires version as the best. Johnny Depp does a great job on it. All right, now you got track 2, Come With Me, Puff Daddy featuring Jimmy Page. Or in other words, Cashmere remixed with different lyrics. Now, this is where I get to say everything I've always wanted to say about Mr. Puff Daddy P. Diddy, pedophile Diddy. I didn't like Diddy back in the day. I never understood why anybody liked Diddy back in the day. I didn't even like him as a rapper. Like, even on here, you listen to this, he's a crappy rapper, man. I do not get what anybody saw in Diddy. Diddy could have been exchanged with any other freaking rapper and no one would have noticed the difference, okay? Diddy sucked. Diddy was wannabe Will Smith, you know, trying to keep it a little clean, trying to look a little nice, presentable, get a whole image going, blah, blah, blah. But he still wanted to keep his gangster edge or his hard edge. Meanwhile, what's he doing? He's trafficking people and, you know, he's doing that whole wonderful. And to this day, the industry is still half-ass supporting him, man. There are still people out there that will absolutely still support Diddy, man. And he was doing some nasty-ass crap, okay? Now, here's the humor to everything I'm saying. Jimmy Page is also on here. Jimmy Page, what is one of his most notorious moments ever? Kidnapping a 15-year-old girl, or 14-year-old girl, sorry. I do not remember the name of the groupie. Totally into Jimmy Page as any 14-year-old girl would be. Jimmy Page, at that time, I don't even know how old he would have been at that time. Definitely too old to be with a 14-year-old girl. But, so, you know, it kind of makes sense that the two of them are together on here, right? Yeah, you know, I gotta wonder what Jimmy Page was showing up for these parties, possibly, if he was showing up to these parties. Now, it says featuring Jimmy Page on here because Jimmy Page actually did show up to play the actual guitars. So when you're hearing the guitar lines of Kashmir, it is Jimmy Page actually playing it brand new. It is not sampled off the original Kashmir. However, it is only Page. And once again, Puff is a piece of caca. Caca-doo-doo. And quite honestly, I'd like to slap his bitch-ass face right to his face, man. I would tell that bitch off right to his face, slap him right to his face. Of course, he's going to pull a gun and be a complete bitch about it, or, you know, he'll hire someone to come after me or whatever. But gladly, I would bitch slap that mother like there is no tomorrow. Bitch slap him like the bitch that he is. Fuck. Do not like that mother. Never liked Diddy. Never liked him. Always thought there was something bad about that guy. All right. So as that being said, that may be one of the few times you ever hear me talk about Diddy on this show. All right. Then we hit next track, Jamiroquai doing Deeper Underground. Now, as soon as I heard the song right away, I had to go looking for the case because I was listening to the car actually. So I pull up to a light, pull out the case of the light. I'm like, son of a bitch, that is Jamiroquai. I only knew the one song from Jamiroquai. I can't even think of the name of it right now. Not, it's that really cool video with the going back and forth on the treadmills and stuff like that. I personally, nothing against Jamiroquai. They're kind of like a soft funk a little bit. And that's how I would describe this, and that's how I recognize it right away. No one song from the band recognize another song. It's not like this song sounds like the other song. It just, there's a style, there's a sound, there's, something you're familiar with. Which goes with the next one as well. You got Rage Against the Machine doing No Shelter. I think I remember this song. It might have been popular at the time, but I can't say 100% for sure with any certainty. I don't recognize it as an album cut, but once again, I could be wrong. I don't own any Rage Against the Machine that I'm aware of, unless it came out of Tracy's collection. I haven't noticed it. It's not a bad tune, compared to a lot of other Rage Against the Machine songs. This kind of helps prove an old theory that soundtracks are dumping grounds for B-sides and songs that didn't make an album or weren't good enough for an album kind of thing. Yeah. Then we're on to Ben Folds 5 Air. Now, if I'm completely wrong and No Shelter was some type of hit that I just really don't remember compared to, everything else that they released, please correct me down in the comments below. But, am I downplaying this one? Like, am I thinking about this one wrong? Okay, then we got Ben Folds 5 doing Air. Was never a Ben Folds 5 kind of guy, but it's not a bad tune. I don't mind it. It was a little soft, a little fluffy, song called Air. It's not a clever name. It describes it perfectly. Then we hit Running Knees, Days of the New. I remember Days of the New, man. Oh, God. So I saw Metallica on both the Load and the Reload tour. The Reload tour, I caught them doing the summer festivals, saw them at Pine Knob in the Detroit area. And Jerry Cantrell and Days of the New were opening, and I missed Days of the New, caught Jerry Cantrell. And every last person to this day has said, you missed absolutely nothing with Days of the New. Days of the New was kind of like a hybrid between Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam, was the best way I know how to describe it. And they were too late for both. Hey! Hello, everybody. This is Mayhem. Mayhem is my new kitty. As you can hear, he's a little bit noisy. Not a fan of being on my lap, not a fan of being on camera, apparently. And Neelix is going to go keep tormenting him. Okay. I'm going to have to tell you the story. Come back on the Thursday after sometime. I don't know. If I haven't told the story already, I'll have to tell a story after this about how I ended up with Mayhem. If you want to hear about how I ended up with Mayhem, leave me a comment down below, and I will tell you how I ended up with Mayhem. Okay. So after Days of the New, Running Knees, we're on to Michael Penn with the song Macy Day Parade, which I think is a stupid name for a song. I don't remember who the hell Michael Penn is, and the song is not memorable in the slightest. Fuel, I do remember the band Fuel. I do not remember the song Walk the Sky, and for the amount of times I've listened to this album, I still don't remember the song Walk the Sky. Same is said with the next song from the Foo Fighters. We got A320, which to me is not memorable, doesn't stand out at all. Realistically, after Ben Folds 5, we go through, seriously, there's only like 2 other songs that grab my attention after track 5. Track 10 is one of the ones that grabs my attention. Brain Stew, not Brain Stew and Jaded, just Brain Stew. The Godzilla mix, Green Day. And it's basically Brain Stew. I think it's been stretched out a little bit in the mix, and they added Godzilla noises in there. I actually don't mind it. I think it's enjoyable while I'm listening to it. Silverchair, Untitled. I actually enjoy Silverchair. They're one of those bands that unfortunately they started out really young, got really popular, and then the guy's voice changed and it kind of hurt the band, sort of. But yeah, Silverchair is one of those bands that really should have been bigger than they were. Then we got Out There, Fuzz Bubble. Out There is not a bad tune. It actually makes me pay a little bit of attention when it's playing on the album. You know, it's okay. Undercover Joey Deluxe, same thing. You know, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. It does a trick. And then you got David Arnold, who I guess was the composer for the movie. He's got the last two things. You got the opening titles, and then you got a track listed as Looking for Clues. So basically, I'm going to say, you know, like the two score parts of the movie, which when you're playing this album the whole way through back to back, the two parts just kind of run into each other beautifully. You don't notice a difference in them. So it sounds like one really nice long musical score, which works for me. All the way around, would I suggest this album? You know what? If you can find it for $1 used, pick it up. If you have to pay more than $1, do not. Do not. $1 justifies picking this up for the Wallflowers Heroes and the novelty of Brain Stew, the Godzilla mix. And then if you're into music scores, you get, you know, those two. But any more than $1 and you've paid too much money towards anything that Diddy contributed to. I don't understand why so many people bought this soundtrack. I really don't. My understanding is I think it's the only way you could get the Wallflowers cover of Heroes. So for that, once again, $1. Outside of that, man, this is a horrible soundtrack. It really is. It does nothing to help boost the popularity or the notoriety of any of the bands on here. But those are just my thoughts, my views, my opinions. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. That's what the comment section's for. I'd like to know, am I being too hard on this album? Am I not being hard enough on this album? Was I too generous about the movie? That's what the comments are for. On your way down in the comments, if you could hit the like button, subscribe button, the bell for notifications, I'd really appreciate it. There's also a couple links worth checking out. Otherwise, folks, peace, love, take care.